We are at a time in history when you can no longer sit back and just let other folks do it. You cannot expect black women to be perfect and save the world. The Lord is completing us. We are not perfect. We need your prayers. We need to be allowed to stumble. We need grace. With that kind of support, we will move mountains and do Jesus' will, stumbling all the way.
That's Fani Willis, the Attorney General in Fulton County, Atlanta, Georgia, who's going after Trump, and the Libloons have put all their eggs in the basket that she has the indictment that's going to take out Donald Trump. So what is it there that she's ranting about? Oh, we're going to get into that.
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth. Somebody to the top of the line.
Hi, I'm Pastor Marty. This is the Afternoon Drive. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Once you are, smack the bell, click the word all to get notifications of my rants, my ravings, and my undeniably flawless reasonings. Hey, please like and share this video. That's how we get the word out that we're here. Welcome to the Afternoon Drive. The Atlanta Journal broke the story on the local level, and then Megyn Kelly was the first national news commentator to pick up on it and talk about what's going on with Fani Willis. She is the Attorney General that is going after Donald Trump, that he literally tried to overturn the 2020 election with a phone call down here to the state of Georgia, trying to get them to manufacture votes to overturn it in his favor. Yeah. She brought on a prosecutor to go after Donald Trump on this, and it turns out that she is having an illicit affair with this prosecutor. That's a big no-no. It's an ethics violation. She has paid him an exorbitant salary, over $600,000 so far, for these consulting fees that he charges the state. She cuts the check, but yet, as she has been giving him this money, the two of them have been taking little romantic trips together. Caribbean cruises. They've gone to the Napa Valley in California. They've vacationed down in Florida together, all on the taxpayer's dime. So this is the person of moral high ground who's going to, quote, save the democracy. Yeah. So what is she doing in this black church appealing for grace and mercy? There's an old, if you will, legal tactic that if the law is on your side but the facts aren't, you argue the law. If the facts are on your side but the law isn't, argue the facts. And when neither the law or the facts, when neither one is on your side, just start pounding the desk and yelling. And that's what she's doing.
We are at a time in history when you can no longer sit back and just let other folks do it. You cannot expect black women to be perfect and save the world. The Lord is completing us. We are not perfect. We need your prayers. We need to be allowed to stumble. We need grace. With that kind of support, we will move mountains and do Jesus' will, stumbling all the way.
Notice that she didn't say that these allegations against her are false. No, what she's doing is playing the race card and the sex card. It's because she is a black woman that these charges have been leveled against her. And she's pleading with this congregation in the name of Jesus to give her grace and mercy, and that she is afforded that, and this would be afforded to any man. The law is not on her side. The facts are not on her side. The facts prove the money trail. She brought in this prosecutor, a guy who is an accident and injury lawyer. He's never tried a felony case in his life, yet she brings him in to be the prosecutor against a former president, Donald J. Trump. Pays him $600,000, of which she becomes a beneficiary of on the kickbacks of the extravagant gifts and luxury travel and the romantic tryst that is involved. And this all came about because Trump has been named in this indictment with, I believe it's 15 or 16 co-defendants. And one of those defendants' lawyers, not even a direct Trump attorney, came upon this information, and most people believe, from the prosecutor's soon-to-be ex-wife, who is filed for divorce and has named Fani Willis in this divorce case. Oh yeah, it's getting good. And so here she is, corrupt up to her eyeballs. She is going to get taken off this case. This prosecutor is going to get taken off this case. And this is a case that more than likely now will implode, or if it doesn't completely implode, it's certainly now going to go through a myriad of delays. In other words, freeing up Donald Trump to continue campaigning. And all of this gift being given to him on the night of the Iowa caucus. But again, Megyn Kelly has been all over this.
He got indicted by Fani Willis. Actually, the grand jury wouldn't indict him, but she charged him anyway. And his lawyer is this Ashley Merchant, who's just filed a barn burner of a motion calling attention to what she says is a disgusting ethics breach by Fani Willis. She says that Fani Willis is in an inappropriate romantic relationship with the special prosecutor, Nathan Wade, who she brought in to help prosecute this RICO case against Trump and all the others. And that she and Nathan Wade have been having an affair, and that she named him special prosecutor the day before he filed for a divorce from his wife, and that she's been funneling payments to him for his work as a special prosecutor, and that he's been using those monies to then take Fani Willis on all these exotic vacations, traveling together to Napa Valley, to Florida, cruising the Caribbean together, using tickets, quoting here from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, using tickets Wade purchased from Norwegian and Royal Caribbean cruise lines, and suggesting that the checks that were sent to this guy Wade, Nathan Wade, from Fani Willis, Fulton County, and his subsequent purchases of vacations for Fani Willis could amount not only to a conflict of interest because she's using him to fund her life and to prosecute Trump, but to, quote, honest services fraud, a federal crime in which a vendor gives kickbacks to an employer. He would be the vendor, Fani Willis / Fulton County, the employer. It is possible this could also be prosecuted under the RICO statute.
You know, at one time they referred to Bill Clinton as the comeback kid. You know, a year ago, all the political pundits and experts had Donald Trump over and done. Those of us who are true MAGA, we know it's never been over and done. And despite Vivek Ramaswamy, hey, Officer Tatum, you know, your guy, even though you make money off of Trump merch, you really have been shilling for Vivek Ramaswamy. There are things that Vivek has done and said that I like. He was obviously kind of playing the role of Donald Trump in those debates, which made the debates at least somewhat fun to kind of watch, because he was the only one that was having any breakout moments that gave us things to talk about. But now that Vivek is basically running on, hey, Trump can't get elected, they're never going to let him near the Oval Office again, and it's a wasted vote, so if you want to save Trump, vote for me, Vivek. Well, first of all, Vivek, I know that's kind of like this promise that, you're young and you're stealth and the establishment has gone after Trump and he can't get elected, but you can. So what does that mean? The establishment knows you're a fraud? Hey, Officer Tatum, you're getting awful quiet on me now. Hey, Tim Pool over at Poolcast, you're getting kind of quiet now because you guys have been in bed kind of backside shilling for Vivek, yet at the same time claiming Donald Trump and making money off Trump's name with your Trump merchandise. But Vivek, if he's really trying to make the argument that the establishment won't let Trump near the White House, but he can, then that means he's not really MAGA. Which is what Trump has kind of hit him with. See, he went after Trump by basically trying to convince Iowa voters, voting for Donald Trump, you're voting for his demise, but if you vote for me, I can save Donald Trump. No, you can't. First of all, Donald Trump doesn't need your saving. He's already on the comeback. He is going to absolutely annihilate Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley in Iowa. Nikki Haley is the establishment pick. They're going to try to get her in, the establishment on both the left and the right, the conservatives and liberals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They want Nikki because they can get the same agenda with Nikki they can with Joe Biden. You're going to get Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels, and the military-industrial complex is already having multiple orgasms over the idea of a Nikki Haley presidency. But Donald Trump is defying the odds. Even a liberal pollster like Frank Luntz, who hates Trump, sees it.
To bet $150,000 on who's going to win in November, who would you bet on?
I never dreamed that I would say this, but I would bet on Trump. I thought it was done. I thought it was over. You don't come back from an impeachment. You don't come back from January 6th. You don't come back from any of this. But he's come back. The guy's a survivor. And his opponent is having so much trouble that I would, at this point, give the edge to Trump.
Boom. Now, I don't often invoke my faith or my theology into my political rants on here, but I'm going to say something that I said years ago. I said it the first time Donald Trump ran. For those of you that might lean a little bit on the atheistic side of thinking, just bear with me. I really do believe there is a God. I believe he is in control. And the Bible says that God has chosen the simple things to confound the wise. What does that mean? When the experts and all these wise, smart people have their agenda laid out, like how they were going to take down Trump with indictments and he would never, ever again be returned to the presidency and the people would not stand for this. Every time they attack him, every time they go after him, his poll numbers surge. If they'd really wanted to end Donald Trump, they should have ignored him. And not one of these indictments ever would have happened if he had never ran for the presidency again. Now, David Victor Hansen has been talking about that. I said it before Hansen did. They would have never indicted Donald Trump if Donald Trump had never mounted a second run, I should say at this point, third run for the White House. But because he has, they dreamed all this up. It has backfired on them horribly. And again, this goes back to my theology. There is a God on the throne. And I know we look at things that are happening in this country, especially those of us that are considered, quote, the Christian right, and we are saddened and we are sickened and we are frightened at what we've seen our nation become, especially on the woke agenda. But every once in a while, God reshuffles the deck and just wreaks havoc with the experts' plan. And that's what we're seeing now. This surge is absolutely incredible. And one case at a time is imploding. the documents case. They decided not to go after Joe Biden, but after Donald Trump. And they wanted to kick it immediately to the Supreme Court and get the Supreme Court to decide. And the Supreme Court says, we'll take the case, but we're not going to get to it right away, which basically means now that whole thing is stalled, so Donald Trump can keep campaigning. There'll be no trials on it because it's in the hands of the Supreme Court, and they've already said they're going to wait. And constitutionally speaking, Donald Trump as a president has the right to declare any documents he wants as top secret and to declassify. A former vice president and senator doesn't have that authority, Joe Biden, but they're not prosecuting him. And he had more files than Trump. Bump, ba-dum, bump. So that indictment, that case is crumbling. Then, of course, you have Bragg in New York City, who is trying to indict Trump on a federal charge, and he doesn't have the authority or the jurisdiction to try a federal case, so that's going to implode. And then, of course, we have the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, I think is her name, and that whack job of a judge that, Trump overinflated the value of his assets and therefore committed fraud. And he's already given a summary judgment that Trump is guilty. And he valued Mar-a-Lago at $18 million when the vacant lot right next door is for sale at $500 million. And everybody knows that's a joke, including CNN had to report, and they had asked one of the investors that's part of, the Shark Tank that everybody watches to see these young entrepreneurs that come before Mark Cuban and this band on Shark Tank and try to get funding for their dream, their new invention, their new venture, whatever. And even he set CNN straight.
Well, let's leave out Trump for a minute and let's leave out politics and just talk about what happens in real estate development anywhere. So if you're a developer and you've got a building on a block anywhere in America and it's worth, let's say, $500 million, and you want to build a building right beside it, you go to the bank and say, this building is worth $500 million. I'd like to borrow a construction finance loan against this asset, and I want you to tell me it's worth $500 million too. And the bank negotiates with you and says, well, no, we think it's worth $400 million, and you fight it out. You're always trying to show your assets in the brightest light with the sunshine you could possibly determine for them. You want them to be worth the very most because you're only going to get a 40 or 50% loan to value, as it's called. Then you borrow that money. In the case of a $500 million asset, maybe you get $250 million, and you build a new building with a construction finance loan. And so that's what this case is all about. And by the way, forget about Trump. Every single real estate developer everywhere on earth does this. They always talk about their asset being worth a lot, and the bank says no. And that's just the way it is. So in this case, when I'm trying to figure out, and I'm not pro or con, or I don't care about the politics, who lost money? Nobody. The bank got paid back the construction finance loan, and a new building was built. And if you're going to sue this case and win, you got to sue every real estate developer everywhere. This is all they do. This is what they do all day long, every day. So I don't think this thing will ever survive appeal, regardless of what the fine is. This doesn't even make sense.
Again, I hate to invoke the Bible here, but the Bible does talk specifically about there are times that a curse pointed against you, God has a way of reversing the course of that curse and putting it right back on the person that sent it toward you. We are watching these cases one at a time just implode, and Donald Trump gets stronger. So Vivek, he doesn't need your help. All we need to make sure is that we keep the pressure on, keep the light shining forth on what's going on with these elections so that they can't pull off their shenanigans again. And then the whole J6, he's never, ever, 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 ever been charged with insurrection. So the Supreme Court is going to allow him on these ballots across all 50 states. And we got a lot of evidence of what really happened on January 6th, and I won't talk about that today. So look up, MAGA. 45 is about to become 47.